Welcome to the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver, brought to you by Arlo Revolution. Each week, Aaron connects melodies and memories with fans and artists from all genres of life. When all else in life is gone, only music will be left to leave the legacy of life's adventures. Please welcome your host for the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast, Aaron Shriver.
How are you guys doing tonight? All right, let's go ahead and fix all this up. Hope everybody can hear pretty good and everybody's out there ready for a fun show tonight. Let me make sure everything's up and running. All right, I hear myself talking, so we're good to go. If you guys are in the chat, go ahead and drop a comment. Just say, hey, what's up? If you guys can share the post, we're going to get ready and roll. And as you guys just saw, we want to thank you and welcome you to episode 37 of the Getting Fast on Memphis podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Shriver, and this is a place where tonight we're going to connect some melodies and memories with both fans and artists in the music community. We share stories and chat about our passions, or how our passions have brought us together. And tonight we're presented by our good friends at Arlo Revolution and all of our Patreons out there. But Arlo Revolution, cinematic wedding films, music videos, and promos. You can find them on Facebook or arlorevolution.com. That's all some good stuff. Then also to our on-screen sponsors, Art on a Higher Wire by Joel, original and custom artwork inspired by your life moments, treasured photos, and memories. Look them up on Facebook, as well as Janet Stoth Creative Online Marketing Services, guaranteed to make companies be found and succeed on the web. Find them on Facebook as well. Hey, Terry, how you doing? No problem. I'm going to try to keep this going as long as we can. And then also our third sponsor, our on-screen sponsor, Mr. Corey Oliphant and the Original Church Choir. We're happy to have them be a part of the show and just hang out with us every week. But tonight, guys, we have a cool show tonight because we're going to have a good friend of mine on. But before we bring him on, it is time to pick a winner for our monthly Patreon tonight. So as you remember, we had my good buddy Lewis Bryce on a few weeks ago. So we're going to have a Lewis Bryce prize package. Let me go ahead and fix this screen real quick. And also, if you guys are watching live tonight, I want to thank you guys real quick because there are really cool lives going on. I was kind of scrolling through before I brought you guys on or before we went live, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of cool people on live tonight. I hope there's some people hanging out. But we're going to go ahead and pick our winner for our Patreon contest. If you're not a part of our Patreon, I will go ahead and share the link in the chat. We do have a nice little after show tonight. We're going to have a few songs by our guest of honor tonight. This will be a good time. So if you guys are not part of it, check it out. Go ahead and get that link shared for you, and we'll post that on there. If you guys are hearing this back on our streaming services, please go ahead and give us a 5-star if you can. Give us a quick review, and it'd be awesome to hear it. Spotify, Apple. We did break the top 100 again in Apple, which was really cool. So I cannot wait for that, but let's go ahead and pick this. All right. So once again, if you guys are in our private sponsor tier or higher, you are part of our weekly or our monthly giveaways. All right. This month's winner is, and she is a former guest of the show, Miss Deborah White. Deb White. I'll go ahead and get your address and get this month's prize pack sent out to you. Lewis Bryce merch prize pack, Divine Devil's autographed book by Jeremy Spillman. Just some good stuff. Definitely some good stuff. But thanks again, once again, to all of our Patreons out there. I couldn't really keep this show going without you guys, especially with everything going on the last couple months. It's been great. I do have a whole new setup this time, which is really cool. A new soundboard tonight, new monitors, new everything. So this is really cool to have it going and to debut it tonight for a pretty cool guest. Are you guys ready to bring them on? Because I think I'm done rambling. But tonight we're going to welcome in singer-songwriter Mr. Chris Harris. You may be familiar with Chris if you know who Ashley McBryde and Deadhorse is, but his talent stretches far past being a member of Deadhorse. So let's go ahead and bring him on and give him talk with him for a quick second. Well, not a quick second. What is up, bud?
Hey, man. How are you?
Rambling. I'm doing good, man. How you been?
That's good, man. That's a great shirt you got on there.
Oh, dude, I had a rocket tonight. So our good buddy, Mr. Jeff Brown, I could give him a quick shout out.
Please
over there at Missing Ink, man. He designed these, got these going. We're going to talk about them in a little bit and talk about how kind of what started this whole thing. But I want to give Jeff a shout out real quick for the shirts. There's a Google picture of this guy. But Chris, man, welcome to the show, dude. It's a pleasure finally having you on, man.
Man, it's a pleasure to be here, man. I've been looking forward to this.
It's gonna be a fun one, dude. Just because I like it because it's more of a fan orientated podcast. So I'm gonna ask you some of the questions that I think some of the fans want to hear from you, and kind of just get your journey, because people know, like you and I were talking a little bit. People know you from Deadhorse and Ashley McBryde, but I want to know them. I want them to know who Chris Harris is as an artist tonight and as a singer songwriter too. Because man, you probably have one of my top 5 all-time favorite songs ever. And I want to break that song down a little bit tonight with you.
Oh, absolutely. Sucker for the sad ones, huh?
Yeah, I'm telling you, they get me all the time, dude. That's why I'm a country music fan, dude, because I think that's some of the best country music is the sad songs.
Yeah, man. Well, it's so easy to relate to, you know. I mean, you know, I feel like in general, it's sad is easier to relate than happy. You know, it's because the last thing I want to do when I'm in a bad mood is hear something happy, because then I'm just like, whatever, you're full of it, you know. But then I want to hear somebody's heartbreak, so I can be like, oh man, I feel you, you know.
Exactly, and you could definitely, I mean, because everybody's had a heartbreak, and if you haven't, you're lying. Definitely lying if you haven't had a heartbreak in some time in your life.
Yeah,
but man, you're from North Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
What part of North Carolina?
I'm from Eden, North Carolina, which is
there's so much talent coming out of North Carolina, dude.
Yeah, man, and I didn't even realize it until I got here and I started meeting people, and you know, and I've met so many people that were also from North Carolina. I was like, well, where were you? But I mean, you know, I'm from a pretty small town right in the middle there, and you know, I didn't do a lot of music scene before I moved to Nashville. So
what brought you to Nashville if you weren't too big into North Carolina music?
Man, dude, I played bluegrass music for a living for a long time, and I came out to Nashville for IBMA, which is sort of like their CMAs it's like the CMAs of bluegrass, I guess is the best way to describe it. But I came out to Nashville for that when it was still here, and a friend of mine introduced me to this girl named Melanie Cannon, and you know, she was really cool. Great singer, and you know, we had a great time. We were hanging out and getting introduced and all that. And she, my friend says, Melanie, you should hear some of Chris's songs. And she's like, well, I'd love to. So I sit down and I played her a few songs that I'd written by myself. You know, some of my earliest stuff. And she said she loved it, and she was like, okay, 2 questions. Can you send me some of this stuff, and can I share it with my dad? And I was like, well, that's a weird question, but yeah, sure. I can send you stuff, and yeah, sure, you can share it with your dad. Whatever you're into, you know. But so then I get a call a couple weeks later, and this guy's like, is this Chris Harris? And it was the Nashville number, so I answered it, and he's like, is this Chris Harris? I was like, yeah. He goes, I'm Buddy. My name's Buddy Cannon. I was like, okay. And he's like, my daughter Melanie played me some of your stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. So at this point I'm like, and he's telling me, you know, that he works that he produces records and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm sitting there at the computer while I'm on the phone with this guy. And I'm like, looking him up, you know, to see like what the deal is. And then it comes up and it's like Kenny Chesney. He's like, oh no, man. Like he's an actual producer. Oh, cool. So, and then he asked me, he's like, you know, I never tell anybody they should move to Nashville, but you really should move to Nashville and try and be a songwriter. And I was like, you can be a songwriter for a living? I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought people just made up their own songs and sang them. I just didn't know that at the time, you know. But so, you know, long story short, a couple weeks after that, actually, I just up and moved. Took off, just moved to Nashville.
Just with everything you own type deal? Did you have a place to stay? Did you know where you're headed to?
I knew kind of the area that I was going to live in, and I came out a few days in advance and looked at apartments and found something I could afford, and my mom and dad helped me with that initially. But yeah, fortunately, I didn't own much, so I brought a few instruments and a suitcase or two, and that was it.
Everything fit in the truck, huh?
Oh yeah, man! And my truck was bigger than my apartment.
Oh, there you go.
For a while. It was a little bitty place.
So when you first got to Nashville, I mean, what was the first? Did you start playing right off the bat, or did you start? I mean, did you start writing?
So I came and I stayed in contact with Buddy, and I'd send him songs here and there, and he introduced me to a few people. But and then I knew a guy named Ronnie Bowman from bluegrass music, and Ronnie was always one of my heroes as a kid. So when I say as a kid, he'd be mad that I'm calling him that old, but I came to I met up with him when I moved out here, and he actually was like, man, if you want to come play in my band for a little while, I'd love to have you. So I did that, and he at that time had just got his second #1 as a songwriter. He wrote Getting Better All the Time for Brooks and Dunn. That was his first #1, and he wrote Never Wanted Nothing More. The Kenny Chesney song that were both #1s, and he was writing for Sony at the time, and he introduced me to a few people, and then he's like, he calls me. I'd been in town for like 2, maybe 3 weeks at the time, and he calls me and he's like, "Hey man, you want to come over to the house for a co-write?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I'd written with Ronnie a couple of times already, which were my first co-writes ever. Actually, were with Ronnie, so I got lucky there. But he calls me and he's like, "Man, I want you to come over for a co-write with another friend of mine." And I get over there, and it's Chris Stapleton, who I knew of because of the Steel Drivers, from the bluegrass stuff. I knew who he was, and I had gotten a hold of some of his demos and things of songs.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was already fully aware of who he was, but met up and wrote a couple of songs with Chris that day, and I was like, man, this songwriting thing is cake, dude. This is great. I love Nashville. And then it all kind of sets in, and then you start learning. There's a whole lot of really great songwriters here.
Yeah.
And no matter how far you go, you still got a long way to go, kind of. So then, and I did exactly what Ronnie and Chris both said to do. They were like, you need to find your tribe. You need to find the people. Go to a writer's night where you like to hear the writers that are there, and find a place like that. Put yourself in a circle and make that your Nashville family. And that both of those guys, I respect their opinions, and I listened to that and was like, okay, cool. I'll try to do that. And I went to several different, writers rounds and like got into open mic stuff and all those things. And then I met Terry Joe Box, who at the time did writer's night at Rusty Nail. On Tuesdays. So she asked me to come and play, and I went and played, and that's where I met Blue Foley and Randall Clay and Ashley McBryde and all these great songwriters that I was like, holy crap, I just want to come listen to these people. And then that ended up being my tribe, my Nashville family.
Your family,
and, yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better one.
That's pretty good company to be in, I would have to say that. So,
man, it's company that I'm always surprised to be in.
So when you first met up with Ashley, I mean, did you ever really picture that she'd take off, or that you'd take off with her, or this whole thing would kind of come together the way it had?
I knew 30 seconds after she walked into the room that she was the real deal.
Nice, dude.
I didn't have any idea that we would, end up being great friends that we are. I certainly didn't have any idea that I might be in her band, but I did know that she was going to succeed, and there was no question in my mind. It was one of those things that, like, if this person can't do it, I'm going home.
That is true. That is true. I'm with the church choir. So my first really taste of Ashley was when she got brought on stage by our church, and they sang Bible together, and that was just amazing. And then I think my very first show that I saw that was an Ashley show, you stole. Because I went to see her, but then you blew me away. And like, you were my talk when I was leaving, I was like, damn, who's this guitar player? And I ended up reaching out. I mentioned him, Jeff Brown, but I talked to him. He goes, oh yeah, I know this guy. This is who he is. And he kind of filled me in on you. And it's like, dude, this guy is talented as hell. And that's kind of when I started following kind of your career. I do, before we really dig into any more, I want you to tell me a little bit about Randall Clay. You mentioned him but what kind of person he was. If no one really knew who he was, tell somebody. If you had to tell somebody or describe Randall?
Okay. Randall Clay, in a few words,
Yeah.
was a beautifully tragic disaster of a poet that we did not deserve.
Oh man, I think you just nailed that.
I mean, like that guy, I get chill bumps. I think about him, I get chill bumps, man.
Yeah.
He is hands down, unquestionably, the greatest songwriter that I've ever sat in a room with. And none
Is
of
he
my
definitely an
songwriting
inspiration?
friends will be offended by me saying that, because if you were ever around him, you just know like that he was the most capable and prolific writer. It was really it was amazing to watch, and I feel like, you know, anytime he was so amazing that anytime I say or write something in a right that I think is really good, I
Mhm.
just assume it's a Randall moment. I mean, we call those Randall moments. It's like, well, I just had an out of body Randall experience,
And
and
like he was there, kind of pumping the words into you a little bit,
yeah, it
and
feels
whispering in
like
your
that
ear.
sometimes,
Nice,
and I
man.
know that just comes from the admiration that I had for him as a
Yeah.
writer. But aside the fact that, you know, he was one of my very best friends.
You could definitely tell you looked up to him. He's an inspiration to you for sure, man. So I wanted to give him a shout out tonight on this show because I know we lost him, and I definitely wanted to have you kind of explain to people who just kind of what kind of a guy he was, and I think you nailed that perfect just from what I knew of him. So even Jeff in the comment said 1,000%. So
Yeah,
I never
man.
really got to meet the guy, but just hearing about him, I just kind of want to give him a shout out tonight, though.
Well, man, I appreciate that. Like, I
No
always
problem.
want to represent Randall any
For
chance
sure.
I get. In
For
fact,
sure,
we're
man.
I don't know if Jeff just told you anything about it, but we're working on a Randall tribute record,
Mhm.
sort of, where we recorded a bunch of his songs,
Oh, dude.
mostly Deadhorse. Like, we were the band
Yeah.
for it, and it's going to have several different, you know, singers on the record that were writers with Randall and such.
Oh, that's
And
gonna be phenomenal,
looking
dude.
forward to getting that out.
So, when you guys aren't out on the road with Ashley, Deadhorse does kind of play together a little bit, huh?
Yeah, man. Sometimes when we have downtime, you know, if we're off for a month or something like that, we'll get a show at the local, or like
Yeah.
Salt and Pepper Grill is another place we played. Just kind of just so that we can play together. Really, I mean,
Nice.
that's the long and short of it. We just really like making music together,
Yeah.
and you know, when we have a month off, we start itching for it. So it's like, why not? Why not just? And we've had some sessions where we'd go over to Sancho's house, and we've been writing some stuff. You know,
Yeah.
some Deadhorse collab writes, and yeah, we just really enjoy playing music with each other. At least I'm speaking for myself. I really enjoy playing music with those guys. I assume they like playing music with me too, because they keep answering the phone when I try to book those things.
Well, I want to tell you, you guys together, man. You guys come together like none other. I mean, you guys are definitely look more like a family up there for sure. When I've seen you guys together, and it's really cool to see the camaraderie between the band members and see you
Yeah,
guys all together.
and I think Ashley, she said it best. She's like, you play with people according to how you feel about them.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're on stage with a bunch of people that you love, that reflects, that comes out. You know, that translates into what you're singing and what you're playing. You know, that stuff that really comes into it. You know, if you were on stage with a bunch of people you don't really like, it would probably feel like a job. You know,
Roger Waters and David Gilmour. No.
I don't want to be like the, you know,
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Where they can't get along together at all. So
yeah, none of those things. I don't want them to be making a Deadhorse documentary in 30 years, and it's like the Eagles, where we're just like, yeah, we just don't like each other.
yeah, right. Exactly, man. I mean, because you guys do. You can tell you guys get along and everything, and it's nice to see you guys do stuff outside of just typical. So, how are you doing now, though? Have you played at all since all this started, or when's the last time you've actually played live outside your house?
Man, outside of my house,
Yeah.
I haven't at all. I've done
Jeez.
a couple of these things, some appearances here and there,
Yeah.
but I haven't played outside of the house. Well, I'll take that back. I played at Ashley's house for when we recorded for the Stage Couch thing.
Oh yeah,
She
yeah.
and I and Matt, you know, did our official quarantine, all our hand washing and all that, but got together around the microphone to record a couple of things. But that's the first time outside of the house.
That's You're probably itching.
Oh, I'm dying for it. We're actually I think we're trying to set up some rehearsals for maybe next week, just so that we can go play together. Because
Yeah,
Ashley's
exactly.
dying to play, and we're all dying to play. So I think we're gonna have some rehearsals just so we can set up our things and play again. You know.
When you guys thinking that you're probably gonna be able to get it back out there again, or when are you thinking realistically? It's
The
gonna be a while, don't
last
you think?
the last I heard, there are still a couple of dates. I think at the end of July that haven't canceled. They haven't been
Nice.
officially canceled yet. We're trying to figure out
What's
if
going
that's
on?
something that we can feasibly do, and if so, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I'm really hoping those stick on the books. I miss my
I agree.
people. I'm ready to go.
We're all itching for live music. We know safety first, but man, we're itching.
Yeah, man.
So definitely for sure. So I want to talk a little bit. You got to do a really cool, I mean, working with Ashley, you got to do something really cool that I wanted to bring up real quick. But you got to be a part and work with Jay Joyce a little bit. And I know he has a really unique studio. It's an old church they converted into a studio.
Yes.
What is working in that studio like for an artist like yourself?
Magic. It is magical, and I can't, and that sounds so tired and like a cop out, but it's really not. That's the only way to explain it. It's such a, it's just when you walk in, he's got two giant Great Danes that just like wander around the studio all day, and it's like you walk into this church and it smells like incense, and it's a church, but there's rock music playing through this great system, and then Jay is sitting there with his feet up on the board smoking a cigarette in the middle of a church, and it's unbelievable. And
I can see it being a religious experience, but a different kind of religious experience for sure.
It's spiritual, to say the least. It is. That's one of the coolest things.
I think this picture of you just it screams that. I mean, it really does scream that it really was a moment. I mean,
I know exactly when that picture was. And Katie Kessel took that picture.
Mm-hmm.
And that so that's sort of how I got into the band, is when they made the first record. Ashley wanted to have me come in and sing harmony on a song. I wasn't part of the band yet at that point, so she wanted me to come in and sing harmony. I did. I came in and sang, and then Jay had gone down because he lives close by there. He had gone back to his house after that or whatever, and and so I left because I'd done the song, and then I get a call. I'm like 2 miles down the road, and Ashley calls, and she's like, "Hey, Jay wants you to come back and sing on the rest of the record." And I was like, "Okay, I'm 2 miles away. I will be right back." And so then in that day, for the next couple of hours, I sang the rest of the record, and that is when we were listening. That was the first. And Kessel was there snapping photos, and that was like hearing myself with Ashley in that church, the way it resonates. Like, I didn't plan that picture. That's just what happened. I just immediately went, wow. And Kessel was there. So.
She nailed it, man. She definitely nailed that photo. Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. I've heard so many cool stories about that place. And when I was kind of pulling photos for tonight's show, I saw this photo. I'm like, definitely got to bring that up, because I've always heard interesting stories, and that's why I wanted to hear your viewpoint of the church.
And it's my favorite place I've recorded so far. So
I want to talk about kind of where you've gone as a solo artist. I mean, you started off with Deadhorse, and that's kind of was your first like big thing. Did you really think you were going to break out with your own fan club?
I did not. Like, the words Chris Harris fan club have ever entered my mind before those shirts existed. And I mean, I think it's the coolest thing that Jeff did that. I just never, those are the things that I never really thought about. I've never really thought much about anything other than just, I wanted to make music. And I never think any further than that with it. It's never like, I want to make this record, or I want to win this Grammy, or I want to do this. I just want to make music. And so I never, the thought, like when Chris Harris fan club came up, I was like, that's weird. I don't even know what to think about this. but then to see all the support and stuff, it's been humbling and awesome.
You definitely got huge support, you know, from back home and everywhere else. I mean, everywhere you go, I mean, definitely have a lot of fans. And I think it's because you've stuck true to your roots, man. You're definitely a down home, genuine guy. And that's what I love about you, man. You're heartfelt. And I think that's why I've connected with a lot of your songs that I've heard. And I can't wait to hear a couple of these tonight. Cause I know when I was working with Jeff, I'm like, all right, let's work together on some songs that you really like of his. That would be some good songs to showcase of them. So I really can't wait till you see the songs that we all picked tonight. And it's really good because I think it's going to showcase who you are as a solo artist and really where we can connect. And that's why I like it, because I have the other artists I've had you paint pictures, and you paint really good pictures. And one of the songs that I know we brought up, and I'm going to have you play here in a little bit, is called Tomorrow. And I wanted you to just kind of just paint that picture of where you and Kaylin were when you kind of wrote that song, or kind of that song came about.
Okay. I've told this story a few times. So I was late that day, and there's 4 writers on that song. There's me and Kaylin Garner, and I were a duo at the time. Mm-hmm. And so Kaylin and I are writers, and also Jim Kaufman, who's a producer from LA, and our good friend Blue Foley. So the 3 of them had already gotten together and started on a song because I was late. I slept late that day, and I'd had a really crappy few days before that. And I was just, it's one of those days where you wake up late, everything's wrong. It's like the water's cold. It seems like a mile is 2 miles longer than it usually is. That kind of day.
Yep.
I just hated everything.
Everything rains on your parade that day.
Yeah, I hated the world that day. And so I pull up to the right, and I walk in. I've got my guitar on my back. And they're all happy and excited, and like that maybe even matter. I don't even know why. I just got there and I'm like, why are you assholes happy? This is not a happy day. And then they start talking about what they've started, and the idea behind this song that they were working on, and they had written most of the first verse up to that point, and they had an idea about it, but the idea was that they were setting this thing up to make it look like, they're going to break up. But what it is tomorrow he's going to ask her to marry him. And I was not in the mood for that day. And I was like, look, I'll gladly step out of the room if you want to. But otherwise, what if we make it where it sounds like he's going to ask her to marry him. And then he says, no, I'm leaving you. So it came out of anger, and but it's landed in a really good place for me. I think I feel like that song is connected to a lot of people and connected me to a lot of people, and it's
definitely one that stopped me in my tracks. I was kind of sharing a story with you, but the first time I ever saw you with Ashley out there, and all the kind of when I said you stole the show, is you started singing that song. I'm like, oh man, I'll record this song. I think it was you either did it right before or after. I think you did a Disney song with her. You did the Beast or something, and you did it right after by yourself or something. So I was recording that, and I started recording like the first 10 seconds of that song, and I just dropped my phone down. I'm like, no, I can't. I'm like, I just want to hear these words, because the song just hit me in a way, because it's like kind of a song you don't really hear. It's a lot of topics have been covered, and I don't think that's kind of a topic where you're planning a breakup has really been covered too much. And it's kind of like it's a deep thought process, the whole song, and it really got me thinking about things. And and that's why I kind of connected to it. I love that song, and God, sorry, I could go on about it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I think it's a thing that everybody's felt and nobody wants to talk about.
Exactly.
And that's kind of,
that's another reason why, I like that you're not afraid to kind of talk about things like that. And I like artists that will push boundaries and push the envelope sometimes and talk about different things or different topics. And it's a good topic to talk about. If you guys have not heard this song, we are definitely going to have him play it here in a little bit for everybody. So, because I'm not going to let Chris come on the show and not play that song. But I did hear a rumor. I wanted you to confirm or not that you might be finishing up some music or something.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to say I'm actually going to be finishing up some music.
Nice.
I'm actually the 12th of this month going in to finish the very last of my parts and do a couple overdubs with a couple other guys. But as of the 12th, the recording should be done, then it's just up to mixing and mastering.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll have a record out. And I actually, I'm working with Eric Torres, who's producing it and recording it for me. Eric's a really dear friend of mine, one of my first friends here in Nashville. He produces Jimmy Allen, and has had his hand in several other things along the way. But great dude. We actually looked it up, and we started recording this record at the end of 2017.
Man.
And I was so ashamed then. I was like, I can't believe this has been sitting on the shelf for this long. But, then that's right about the time I started with Ashley. And, that it just sort of took a back burner at that point. And, now it's the perfect time. I want to get it done and get it out.
For sure, man. Because now you got some momentum going behind you. I mean, especially with your own fan club now. But you got some momentum, man. And I know you got a lot of people dying for some music. I know I've been dying for that song for I don't know how many years. I'm like, I cannot wait till he releases it. So I've been living on YouTube versions of it for so long now. But yeah, man, we're definitely looking forward to some music coming from you soon, man. So I know you've been itching, and let's just hope that you don't jump back on the road too soon. You don't get too busy again within our 3 years.
Well, I'm pretty sure it'll be done before we go back on the road again.
If not everything clears up tomorrow, all right, we're going back on the road.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden there's a vaccine, or it just starts raining COVID vaccine.
It is kind of funny how I heard someone said COVID's kind of like the what is it? Cotton Eye Joe of 2020. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Over the last couple of days, it's gone all over.
Yeah.
So Jeff's saying late summer, early fall. All right.
Yeah.
He's itching for it too, I bet.
Oh yeah.
He's probably been your top supporter lately on that album, pushing to put that thing out.
The best, dude. Jeff Brown is half the reason any of this is happening. I mean, that dude. I love that guy. I will love that guy forever.
He has a big heart, man. He definitely has a big heart.
If you don't have a Jeff Brown in your life, I highly suggest you go out and get you one.
I'm lucky to have one then.
There you go.
Yeah, he's a good guy and definitely supportive. So, and that's why I've looked towards him for artists and for recommendations. And he was definitely one, or you were one on his radar. And that's why when I started this podcast, you were one that I was like, all right, I got to have Chris on for sure. So anything new merch coming, man. He's dropping all the bombs out there.
Yeah, man. There's gonna be new stuff. I'm telling you, man. Jeff's on top of it.
So that's funny though. So what I mean, the first time you looked out and saw these shirts, though, what were you thinking?
Oh man, dude, I almost cried. I really did. I got emotional about it. I was like, this is amazing. Just to have people show up like that for you, like,
exactly.
It was a humbling thing. I mean,
music, I think, is surrounded by so much passion, and when someone gets passionate about something, you definitely want to scream it out loud and really tell somebody how passionate you are about it. And I think Jeff is a good way of doing it. I mean, different fans have different ways of doing it, and I love it because it's a way to connect with artists too, because to really see how far you've come as a solo artist now. So especially when you get this new music out.
I can't wait.
All right, so I want to talk about so Never Will is another song that you wrote. Is that your first cut that you've ever had? Actually get out?
It's not my first cut. It's my first major label cut.
Yeah, okay.
I've had some songs cut by some really good artists that were, independent releases and things like that. This is my first major label cut.
Nice. It's pretty cool because pretty much everybody in the band had a part in it, right?
Yeah, man. Everybody in the band is a songwriter on it.
That is amazing.
Yeah, everyone molded the music. Ashley, myself, and Blue wrote the lyrics.
Okay. So you guys just kind of sat down one night and just started writing, or what kind of brought it on?
Well, it kind of came from Matt and Sancho had made this track.
Okay.
Matt had several things that he had just recorded, like guitar riffs or grooves or things like that. And he and Sancho used to be roommates, so Sancho had played some bass on it. They basically just built these tracks, and and Matt had sent me a couple of them just to listen to see if I wanted to write off of any of them. And I had a write with, it was me, Blue, and Ashley had a write that day. And we wrote a couple of songs. And then after we'd already written a couple, I was like, hey, I've got a few of these things from Matt that are kind of cool. You know, if we want to listen to them, we can write some stuff to it. And we took one of the things that he had recorded, took the sig lick, and added a few things here and there to make it fit what we wanted to write into it.
Yeah. But
wrote the lyrics to it, and then when we took it in to arrange it for the record, then Quinn had so many great changes that we were like, well, he has to be a writer on it too now. So, and it's really cool. The whole band is a writer on a song.
That's awesome. That's really cool. When I first saw it, I'm a sucker. When I first get a new album in my hand, I look at song credits right away because I want to see. I'm a songwriter fan, so I want to see who had credits or who wrote on this album. And that was one of the first things I noticed on that album. Like, holy crap, the entire band's part of it. This is really neat.
Yeah, man. I don't think that happens much anymore.
No, it's rare. It's rare that touring musicians are also the studio musicians a lot of times. I've noticed that. So I know artists will use two separate musicians or two separate bands at times, and I mean, that's cool and all. But I really like artists that stick with the same band. I mean, or to try to. Yeah, I was a huge Billy Ray Cyrus fan in the '90s. My mom loved Billy Ray Cyrus, and he had one of the coolest bands ever. And then one day he fired every one of them, and luckily a couple of them ended up with Eric Church, and I love that. But it was just really cool to always go out and see him with the same guys because they had a chemistry unlike none other. And I mean, that's exactly what I think what you have right now with the band you're with.
Absolutely. And I didn't really even know that we're one of the few that it's us. It's us on the record. It's all us.
Yeah. It's like I said, I'm a sucker for looking at all the notes in the CD booklets or just the liner notes or album notes and seeing, all right, who the studio musicians were. And it's very rare to see the same band that's on the road as studio musicians anymore. So
yeah, man, it's rare, and that's a shame, man, because the road guys, they deserve some credit too.
Exactly, dude, because I mean it sucks. I mean, I know a lot of musicians and a lot of you guys in chats, if you guys don't know, I mean, it's not paying a lot of the bills being road guys at times. So it's kind of nice to have the recognition at times.
Yeah. I mean, and that, that stuff gets you, having your name on the credits of something like that just gets your name on more credits, because then people look at that and you end up with more work from it. So
this must be your sister in the chat. Aren't you all glad I forced him to listen to Randy Travis and Dirty Dancing when he was little?
That's definitely my sister. Yeah, Randy Travis, Dirty Dancing, Grease, and Garth Brooks.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That sounds like a good run in the 90s there.
Oh yeah, man! I'm pretty sure I can still quote the whole movie of Grease from start to finish, and that's due to my sister.
And you're a huge Disney fan too, right? That's kind of a hidden thing about you.
Absolutely.
What got you into Disney, man?
What's that?
What got you into Disney?
Oh man, just those movies when I was a kid, like they had songs in them.
Exactly.
And I've always been fascinated with music. My grandma played like ukulele and piano like all the time when I was over there. My mom plays piano. So like I was just always surrounded by music. I'd be thumping on ukuleles when I was a little kid. But like those movies, like I loved them because they had music. Yeah. They had these really cool songs and stuff in them.
And you related to.
Yeah, and even at a very young age, I realized how well written those songs were, and like, that's really what kept me. I mean, I also just love cartoons in general. Oh yeah. So there's that. I'm 34 years old. I still watch cartoons.
I'm 38. I still watch them too, man.
Hey, good, man. Hey, look, getting old is not an option. Growing up is.
Oh, that's why I'm glad I have kids now. I have an excuse to watch cartoons. I mean, I don't need one, but I'm hey, kids, do you want to watch this?
Yeah, come on, hurry up.
Cool, man, because I'll show them all the cartoons I used to watch. Like, I'll put a Lego Rock on every time now and then.
Oh, man, absolutely.
So that was one of my favorites, Bo. But I love Disney, and my kids are growing up on Disney too now, and I want to take them soon out there and check everything out. So
I've never been to Disney World.
Oh man, one of these days. Someone is asking in the chat what your favorite Disney movie is.
Oh man, my favorite Disney movie. My favorite. That's so tough.
I know. I was just trying to
I
think of
guess
mine.
my favorite Disney movie overall is The Lion King.
Yeah, dude. I think that's where I'm going to.
I mean, well, I mean, especially mostly because I related to it so much as a little boy.
Mhm.
Because I mean, there's not a lot of Disney movies where the little boy is the main feature. Everybody gets
Exactly.
it's always the princess. But can we get a prince some love every now and then?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Lion King and Aladdin were very close. But I also love Beauty and the Beast. Little Mermaid's one of my favorites.
Yep. Yeah, it's really cool, especially going back with the kids thing now. Like my wife's been showing the kids like Little Mermaid and all those ones, and I'm
Yeah.
bringing out Lion King, all those good movies. I'm like, hey, these ones. So it's always fun though. We have family movie night. We always pick a different movie, but it's always normally a Disney movie.
That's
New or
awesome.
old.
You can never go wrong.
Never. All right, man. I think we're gonna kind of move on a little bit. I have a little game I want to play with you real quick. So I'm gonna ask you 9 questions. It's gonna be a little fast paced. I kind of do it every week. I call it the hot seat, and we're gonna give you 60 seconds, a little background music. All right. What's your dream Crossroads episode if you had to pick 2 artists?
Oh, Dead or Alive?
Yep.
Oh, Ray Charles and Willie Nelson.
Oh, dude, that would be awesome. Your favorite getaway location?
Mountains.
Ooh. Favorite first cassette tape you ever owned?
Garth Brooks, In Pieces.
Nice. First cover song you ever learned to play and sing?
Oh, On the Other Hand, Randy Travis.
Ooh. Your dream venue you haven't gotten to play yet?
Madison Square Garden.
Oh. Which Disney character do you relate with?
Simba.
Favorite Halloween costume you ever wore?
Green Arrow.
One item that's still on your bucket list?
Ooh. Oh man, why did that stump me so bad? Because I can't think of anything else. I want to go watch the Masters at Augusta.
Nice, man. And one song you wish you would have wrote?
Oh Jesus. Imagine.
Oh man, that's a first though. That would have been a good one though. And I want to also give a shout out to the guys on your hat, Raised Rowdy. You gotta give me a little piece about them, man. I know you always are wearing some Raised Rowdy gear.
Oh man, dude, they're just the greatest collection of dudes, man. They're big supporters of country music, and it's more so like underground country music. I feel like there are artists being discovered because of Raised Rowdy, and I think that is just such a great thing that they're doing. And they didn't do this because they were trying to make money on it. They just did it because they liked it, and that's what they were doing anyway.
They're fans of the music,
and they always show up. They're always supportive. They've looked out for me. Nick like never lets me need anything. Like
that's awesome.
I love those guys. Raised Rowdy all the way. If you're not familiar with Raised Rowdy, go check them out. Buy some merch. Support those guys.
Yeah, definitely a great group of guys. I wanted to give them a shout out. So I saw the hat. So, well, man, before we end up wrap up the show tonight, can we get you to play a couple songs real quick?
Absolutely.
I mean, I heard there's words about a song called "The Struggle" that I kind of would love to hear you kick off with. If you don't.
All
mind.
Right, struggle first. All right.
Oh, man, I'm gonna go off camera and give you the string. Hey guys, this is Chris Harris. He's coming up with a song called "The Struggle." And if you don't mind, kind of just giving us a little backstory before you go into it.
Absolutely. So this song, I wrote this song with Kalen Garner and Randall Clay, and Kalen actually had the idea for this title and what he wanted it to be about. It was like 10:30 at night when I lived in Madison. Kalen was at my house, and we had already been writing. He's like, "I want to write this song called 'The Struggle Is Real." And we talked about it, and I was like, dude, we got to call Randall Clay and see if Randall can come over here and write this with us. And, we were going to maybe like do it the next day or something. So we called Randall. I was like, hey, man, Kalen's got this title he wants to write called "The Struggle Is Real." And when can you get together and do it? And he's like, I'll be at your house in 15 minutes. So Randall shows up at the house, and we wrote a song about being a songwriter.
That's awesome. That was beautiful.
We wait all of our lives to wait tables and make just enough to make stay and make sense. Picking up shifts and having to pick between making rent and making friends. There's no going back, and you ain't got the cash for the gas if you wanted to. The struggle is real. We sweat over internal rhymes and the lines and the phrasing of made-up words, and knowing that no one will notice but us how we busted our butts on this verse. And a 1/10 of a cent for 10,000 spins split 3 ways sure ain't much. The struggle is real. The struggle is real. For everyone that gets a shot in the spotlight, there's 1,000 left out in the dark. And the only ones making any money are the pawn shops and the bars. I've got to remind myself sometimes that I'm here on my own free will. The dream is a dream. The struggle is real. I've been here long enough to see people blow up and give up and go home and come back. Had songs that were cut just in time to be cut from the record the day it was tracked. And during my tenure in town, this 10-year town's turned into 15. The struggle is real. The struggle is real. For everyone that gets a shot in the spotlight, there's 1,000 left out in the dark. And the only ones making any money are the pawn shops and the bars. I've got to remind myself sometimes that I'm here on my own free will. The dream is a dream. The struggle is real. And ooh, they say that ooh, one is all it takes. But for everyone that gets a shot in the spotlight, there's 1,000 left out in the dark. And the only ones making any money are the pawn shops and the bars. I've got to remind myself sometimes that I'm here on my own free will. The dream is a dream. The struggle is real. The dream is a dream. The struggle is real.
Dude, that is amazing, dude.
Thank you.
That is those lyrics got me going on that one. I've heard bits and pieces of that, but I've never dug into that whole song. That's why I really was glad to wait to actually hear it like that tonight.
Oh, man.
It was really good, man. Really good. So now will that be on the new album?
That one is not going to be on this one, but I do plan on recording it and getting it out. I'm just finishing up the ones I'd already recorded for.
Yeah, for sure, man. So the next one I'm going to ask you to do, we definitely know that won't be on it. So this is definitely my personal favorite song. Chris Harris, my favorite Chris Harris song. Definitely check this out when the album comes out. But it's called, is it going to be called Tomorrow?
The album?
No, the name of the song. Is that what
it's
you're wrong with?
Tomorrow.
Okay. I didn't know. I know sometimes people change it up and somebody else cut it too. I just didn't know if you're going to roll with the same name or.
Man, it's what I've called it since it was born. I'm going to keep calling it that.
I love it, man. All right, guys, we're going to have them do this song. If you've never heard this song yet, definitely turn it up, listen to these lyrics, and you're going to be blown away. I promise you.
Never looked the same in her eyes. She's so beautiful tonight. It's been keeping me awake for weeks. How to tell about the future that I see. 'Cause tomorrow I'm gonna break her heart. Tell her we've gone as far as we can go. And it kills me 'cause I know it's gonna hurt. It's my time to leave. But she ain't done nothing wrong. She just ain't right for me. She deserves to find her happiness. And I only know one way to give her that. So tomorrow I'm gonna break her heart. I'll never look the same in her eyes. There's good in this goodbye. All that I can hope for is that someday she might see she needs something better than the best that I can be. So tomorrow I'm gonna break her heart. Tell her we've gone as far as we can go. And it kills me 'cause I know it's gonna hurt. It's my time to leave. She ain't done nothing wrong. She just ain't right for me. She deserves to find her happiness. And I only know one way to give her that. So tomorrow I'm gonna break her heart. Oh, tomorrow I'm gonna break her heart. Tell her we've gone as far as we can go. And it kills me 'cause I know it's gonna hurt her. It's my time to leave. But she ain't done nothing wrong. She just ain't right for me. She ought to wake her up right now and set her free. 'Cause this might be the last sweet dream she ever dreams of me. 'Cause tomorrow I'm gonna break her heart. Oh, tomorrow I'm gonna break her heart.
Damn. I'm so glad you got kind of caught up on your lyrics at the end because I almost lost it there for a second. And then when that happened, I at least had a little chuckle. I was like, yes, I'm back.
Man, good.
But
It
I
was on
almost lost
purpose.
it for a minute, man. Oh God. Yeah, someone's saying tugging at your heartstrings. I'm telling you, those I mean, you're getting a lot of cool comments, man. Those lyrics are everything. Yeah. I'm really hoping if you guys have first time hearing that song, you guys were just blown away like I was the first time I ever heard it. Because first time I heard that song live, dude, you just kind of like the hairs were just standing straight up. I remember coming home and telling my wife, I'm like, you got to hear this song. I've never heard anything like it. It's just unbelievable. Somebody would write something like this and like it's cool to hearing the story about how you kind of came in. It's like, all right, if you guys are gonna write a happy one, I'm out. But if you guys want to write a sad one, let's do it because we talked country music. I mean, I like sad music. It's supposed to be sad at times.
Yeah,
It
man. I
shows
mean,
your highs and
there's
lows.
no point in hiding from that emotion. I mean,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
it is
Everybody's
what
gone
it is.
through it. We're gonna go through it.
Yeah. And
Tammy says I'm
and
totally
then a
19
lot of
again. Yeah.
people are like, I've had the conversation with people that are like, I just don't want to, I don't want to listen to sad music, especially when I'm sad. And it's like that. See, I listen to it differently then because like I listen to it when I hear a sad song. If if I'm already sad, then that's like, that to me, then that feels like I'm relating to someone. It's like somebody else is hurting like that too. And that
Mhm.
eases my pain more than just like covering it up by singing Bob Marley at the top of my lungs.
Exactly, man. Tammy just said in the chat, while most of us have been on the receiving end of that breakup, I'm suddenly 19 again. And that's kind of like what I first felt when I first heard that song. Is like it really did take me back to like my old relationships in high school where if I would have heard that song, I would have had the guts or the balls to say things to women or say maybe have breakup with a few girls in the past. And when I first heard that, because it takes me back to my high school days, whereas like when I have broken up with people, it's like because guys think about it. I mean, I'm sure you probably had your breakups too, and you think about it, and you're like, all right, what am I going to do tomorrow? Was this the right thing I'm going to do? Is she happy? Am I going to give her enough? And you always got to think about that. I mean, I think about that every day with my wife. So
Yeah, man, and sometimes the best thing you can do is realize you're not the best thing for them.
exactly, and they deserve better sometimes, or sometimes you can't be the best. Well, you this decides. See what
Yeah.
happens. All right, man. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you go, and we'll bring you back in about 15 minutes or so. I'll go ahead and just send you a new link,
Okay.
and we'll bring you back for the after show, man. But go ahead and take a little bit of a break, and I really appreciate you sitting down with me and chatting tonight, dude. It's been
Dude, it
amazing.
was my pleasure. I can't believe it's already over.
This hour went by fast, dude. It
Yeah, it
goes by
did.
so quick. So, but it's definitely good to kind of introduce who you are as an artist and really dig into kind of your background as kind of coming from North Carolina and coming to Nashville. So it's been really great recapping with you tonight, man.
Oh, man, thank you so much for having me.
Man, we'll talk soon. We'll talk in a few minutes, bud.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Bye. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. That was Chris Harris. Man, so much that I wanted. I had so many more pictures that I want to throw up there and share. In about 15 minutes, he is going to be live on our Patreon after show. Oh, I guess you can't see that. There you go. I'll share the link again in our chat room that we have right now in our chat. I'll share the link if you want to go ahead and jump on that. Once again, if you are listening to this back on our streaming services, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, any of those, and you can leave us a 5-star review, just say something nice about the show. It'd be great and just amazing to have that support that you guys have been giving us. So I did share the Patreon link if you guys want to get on. About 15 minutes, 9:15, we are going to go live over on our Facebook page. So if you do jump in, just go ahead and look for that link on our main Gaining Fast on Memphis Facebook, and you'll see the link for the Patreon page tonight. So go ahead and just ask to be in the group, and we'll get you added in. My buddy Jeff is an admin over there right now for me, and he's going to be helping me out getting some people added in as they come on. So, but thank you guys again for tuning in. Like I said, there was so many good lives. I saw Drake White, Joanna Khan. I mean, so many great lives right before I went live tonight with Chris. So I know we had a good steady 30, 40 viewers tonight. I want to thank everybody that listened live or watched live and then is going to listen back in a couple days on our streaming sites. So next week, we are having our makeup show with somebody that I cannot wait to interview. So if you guys have not heard of who Luke Dick is, tune in next week. This guy is wild, and it's going to be an amazing interview and such a fun show. So I'll see you guys next Tuesday.
to everything. Next week, Aaron connects more melodies and memories with other fans and the artists they love. Thanks for being a part of this musical journey, and we'll see you next time on the Gainin' Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver.